What's up, everybody? It is League Night. We're excited to bring you this content this year for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I am joined by Jamie Thomas. How's it going, man?
What's up, everybody? Back on the mic. Good to be here, Matt.
Wow, we've also got Josh Graham in the house. Josh, you looking forward to this?
I probably couldn't be more excited. Talking about disc golf, super happy.
Super happy. Let's get right into it. We have a season that has officially begun. And Josh, you've got something lined up to talk about. Let's get right into it. Take it away.
Yeah, so here we are jumping into the season. I think we're going to each share with you what we think the headline is at the moment in disc golf. I mean, we just got started. So what's crazy is there's probably 100 headlines to choose from. In fact, I'm going to share mine, which you can see on the screen. And then Matt or Jamie, if you don't hit on some other ones, I'm going to make sure I run them down. But look, simply put, and maybe I'm biased, maybe I'm excited, I'm happy, but disc golf feels unique in the fact that, look, there's a solid tour of players. They roam the country competing in the world's most competitive disc golf events. Then at the end, they all split up, go their merry ways, right? And then when the next season begins, it's like a happy family reunion, right? The band is back together and I'm here for it. Right? Look, we know there's going to be so much excitement throughout the year. I promise you in this show and in all other media outlets, we're going to talk about all the exciting storylines, ups, downs. In fact, we already have them and we're just one event into the season. But for me, the primary headline at the moment that I want everybody to know is, look, we're back. It's too early for other headlines, but there is a comprehensive list and I'm excited to talk about them. So I say, Matt, let's hear what your headline would be this early in the season.
All right. My headline this early in the season is Gannon BUHR is here to stay. He has 2 world titles. We saw him at the Las Vegas Challenge, take it to a playoff. We're going to talk about that later, but I'm here to talk about Gannon BUHR in the moment and the long term. So listen to this. Gannon BUHR, 16-year-old professional. He is currently, after the PDGA update today, the 11th highest rated player in the world. Do I need to say that again? 11th highest at 16 years old. When he joined the Pro Tour last year, he made the lead card at his second Disc Golf Pro Tour event. Now listen, his first Disc Golf Pro Tour event was at Jonesboro. This was after a 4-month recovery from knee surgery. He went to Jonesboro and performed well for that. 4 months later, he comes back to Waco and he performs and makes the lead card. His composure is well beyond his experience, but his experience as at 16 so far, that's beyond the norm. So he has 2 world titles currently in the Junior World Championships. I'm here to make the take that he is possibly, no, not possibly, he's going to line up a world title or 2 outside of the junior division. Now, for this whole season, looking ahead, what are you going to hold me to? I think that he is going to place an average of 15th place or better by the end of the season. If he does this, you better believe that he's here to stay for the long haul. Jamie, what do you have to talk about?
Ooh, boys, I love it. Josh coming in with the warm and fuzzies. Matt got the spicy takes right off the bat, calling for Gannon BUHR world titles. I got the bad news for everybody out there. Your pick'ems are going to be impossible this year. Take away this couple stats from the Las Vegas Challenge. 31 players rated 1,000 or higher in MPO missed the cut. Yeah, 31 missed the cut. By the way, 1018 average golf was required to make the cut on the MPO side. The women had to play at least 940 golf to make the cut. So when you see the very little slice of the season that we've seen so far, a lot of people are going to say, oh, Vegas, one-trick course. Oh, it's only going to show one style of golf. But even in that one style of golf, even if you believe that, you have to believe that the names that you're seeing bunched up near the top are going to make an impact, maybe at different points throughout the tour this year, but it's going to make those pick'ems, the fantasy, skip ace, pick sixes, whatever you're into, that's going to make it extra hard. So if you call it this year, brush your shoulders off and tell your friends, hey, I got that one. This is not an easy year in the sport of disc golf.
Wow, you're right. We've brought the heat already. This is League Night, everybody. This is what we're going to call our pilot show, the first ever. We are here to bring you the conversations that are revolving around the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We're excited to involve you in a live format as well. Josh, what are some of the headlines that maybe we missed here? Is there others? Are there others out there?
Well, yeah, and we don't have enough time, right? We're not going to blow out a 4-hour TV show tonight. But here, a couple reactions. First of all, Jamie, it wasn't all that long ago in the history of our sport where some top-level events did not have 31 players rated over 1,000. And now you said 31 missed. And Matt, like, yeah, Gannon Burr, I think going to be truly amazing. To be honest, last year, it wasn't even really a full tour for him yet. So, like, we're talking about a player.
He is 16. Like, he can't full tour. He's still in school. He doesn't drive.
Yeah, so he's literally, not exaggerating, skipping classes, still doing his homework, and driving right to these events. Now, granted, it's early in the season, Matt, so we don't have a category for overreactions today, but that may be one. But look, I'm excited for it. Here's a quick rundown of some others. You ready? Yeah, Gannon Burr threw 60 straight bogey-free holes, and he lost to Drew Gibson in a 4-hole playoff. Look, here's another one. Reminiscent of 2021 Worlds, Paige throws OB on hole 18 upshot, leading to Katrina Allen win. Mm-hmm. Or how about Katrina Allen seems, in my opinion, happier and throwing better with a brand new set of discs. I know it's early in the season, but exciting to see. Jamie, you already mentioned the cash streak. Or no, you missed who missed cash. I'm going to mention the cash streak for a well-known tenured player, Kale LaVisca.
Hey,
Nate Sexton almost missed it. A 307 event cash streak. That's pretty crazy. That has ended, but I don't think it's, I mean, you know, Kale probably underplayed his current skill level, but I think it speaks more towards the depth of the field, which was really your point. I think it's crazy. And Matt, I'll throw one or two more quick ones at you. Look, even with the return of the top players from Europe in FPO, I still think Paige and Katrina seem to separate themselves from the pack. And lastly, do you think Eagle McMahon's shoulder and limiting his forehand throws, is that going to limit his ceiling this year? And Matt, I could go on and on and on. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's incredible. We're bringing a lot. We're trying to pick and choose what we think most of you want to hear about. But we're going to go ahead and take it into a segment called 2 Minutes, which if you were on the Disc Golf Network last year, you might have seen this, but we're bringing it back here for League Night. So the way this works, we're going to put 2 minutes up on the clock here in just a minute, but we're going to give you an opportunity. I just put a QR code up there for you, or you can visit 2minutes.live if you'd like to participate live when either Jamie or Josh or myself say something that you like, you agree with, you can upvote it. And if you vote for that person, you will see live on screen an interaction with your vote going for whoever you are choosing to put your vote to. You can only vote once, so save it. All right, let's put the clock up like this. Let's get right into it. A playoff itself, this says a playoff surprise. A playoff itself may not have been a surprise, but were you surprised by who was in the playoff at LVC? Is this who you would have chosen before the event started? Gannon and Drew. Take it away, Jamie.
All right. Well, first of all, sorry to Drew Gibson that you won the event and it's 8 minutes before we mentioned your name on this broadcast. Also, obviously, shout out to Katrina Allen, the winners of the Las Vegas Challenge. Look, when you talk about Las Vegas, there have been plenty of tight battles. Playoffs, that's a thing. It happens here. There's always only a couple strokes separating the field. It's usually the longest arms in the field. Okay, Drew qualifies. Gannon doesn't quite qualify for that yet. And it's usually the 1050 boys as they've become known. I mean, you've got Eagle, you've got Rick. When Paul shows up, he plays well there. So no, I wouldn't have picked these guys, but that's not a slight to either of them. In fact, it's a credit to them that they came out swinging and gave one of the best playoffs that we've seen since 2014 Worlds, Josh.
Yeah, we were there with my family, and I'm like, yeah, the tournament's almost over. Just one more hole. I mean, just one more hole. I mean, just one more, right? And just 4 times over. Right. So, yeah, it is incredibly compelling when it just keeps pushing like that. Look, thinking about the nature of the LVC courses, I'm not surprised there was a playoff. Jamie, Drew Gibson finished 6th last year. So, like, I don't know if I would have picked him, but I don't know if I would say it was a surprise that he was there. But we just talked about Gannon. I'm not, like, in hindsight, knowing his skill set, I'm also not surprised. But yeah, to be honest, I'm surprised. I would not have picked him. And look, this is not the topic, but I'm going to sneak it in. You want to talk about surprises? I'm more surprised that Wysocki was in 7th, Dickerson was in 12th, Garrett was in 16th. Eagle, last year's winner, was in 21st. Right. So, but anyway, excited about the playoffs. Let's see more of that.
This is the way it works. The timer bell goes off and I'm in control. So either way, this is the new segment, 2 minutes, everybody. You can join live. 2minutes.live will get you into the conversation. Vote for the points you like. Let's get into topic number 2. The second best in FPO, question mark maybe, is if Katrina Allen is the top FPO player at the moment. Is that a hot take? Who do you say is the second best FPO player right now? I'm going to toss this over to Josh.
Okay, so I actually personally have no problem with that initial statement or implication because I actually think I agree with the premise if you're talking about right now. But it's worth noting the PDGA has Katrina at second. UDisc has her at fourth. But she is our current world champ. And of course, winning the first event, she comes out firing. She's at the top of the DGPT points leaderboard. But the question was who's second? Look, I feel the obvious answer people want to throw out is somebody we all know, but I'm going to skip that and actually make a case for Kristen Tatar. And the sample size is relatively small. I get it, but here's the point. I know it's subjective. Given more time on the tour, more stability, more comfort, especially with international travel, I think she's our second best FPO player. And here's why. It's the consistency that gives her the edge over Paige's peaks and valleys. And Paige's peaks are incredible, but her valleys also seem to be low. Listen, I'll finish on this. The last 5 events they've played together, going back to last year's Pro Worlds, Paige has beaten Kristen only 2 times, and Kristen has beaten Paige 2 times, and they have a tie. I know it's a hard case to make, but I'm trying to make it.
You've made it. You've made it. Jamie, what do you got?
Okay, in that case, ties are going to go to the runner, or in this case, the person with more majors under her belt. I'm going to stick with Paige Pierce. It's a little bit of a chalk pick, but look, here's the thing. Her valleys, yes, we saw one of the biggest valleys in her career, or at least the latter half of it, in the middle of last year. I mean, she had a documentary film crew going around to Worlds with her, and she came up just short. That has to hurt. But the thing is, the diamonds are made under pressure, and that's not a Latitude 64 reference. I am talking about Paige Pierce here. The biggest thing is, over time, that adversity makes you stronger, and it wouldn't surprise me if she comes out at this very next event that she struggled at and does really, really well.
Yeah, you guys made some great points. I think it's hard to say that Paige Pierce isn't number 1. I'm there, so I'll give her number 2 if that's the premise we're going off of. Here's topic number 3, international performance. There was a lot of excitement about the European players joining the competition. Josh, you just alluded to that. Who's the top MPO, the top MPO, I should say, in this category? 17th was the top finish. The top FPO finished in 3rd place. So you have a 17th place in MPO and a 3rd place in FPO. Jamie, is that what we expected, that performance? Is that good enough, or did they underperform?
I'm going to make the interesting case here and say that it's what we expected. In FPO, it's obviously what we expected. I mean, Henna Blomroos missed the cut. She's kind of the outlier, but other than that, it played as expected. MPO is the interesting case. I'm going to quote the great UC Marisma, who famously said some time ago that the men from Europe can throw just as well, but they keep getting beat because they're beat on the putting green. Paraphrasing there. But I think that's what we saw. I mean, we talk about Drew Gibson as a power player, but don't forget that Drew Gibson out-putted Gannon Buhr from Circle 2. Yes, take that back. He out-putted Gannon Buhr from Circle 2 at Las Vegas, and that was eventually the difference. So I do think there was some more time and a little bit of work on that putting green, getting it up to the level of the American touring players. You're going to see the Europeans come up, but right now it's what you expect.
All right, Josh. So he says, yeah, it's pretty to be expected.
Yeah, so I'm going to focus a little bit more on both Evelina and Henna from Finland because there was so much hype and excitement and gave us an incredible feature card in round 1. Here's the thing. We had almost a 2-year layoff, so we didn't really know what to expect, to be honest. And so there was a lot of excitement and hype. And so if I use that as the benchmark, then I'm going to actually say I'm quite disappointed, probably simply because Henna missed the cut. And people were saying, could they vie for being the top? So look, I think I'm reasonable when I say, how did we actually know what to expect? We had an absence, but in the grand scheme of things, oh man, I hope they turn it around.
You're right. The hype was real. And so that's kind of what we're basing it off of. So, all right, let's get into topic number 4, our final topic. We saw 74 Eagles. We're not talking about the birds. We're not talking about the player. We're talking about getting 2 better. Birdie, Eagle.
Yep. That's right.
You got it.
Going to, where are we at with this? Yes, 2 better than par. That's 74 times at the Las Vegas Challenge. What's your reaction to this stat? You don't need a lot of time to do this, but we'll start with you, Jamie.
I feel like half of them were Ella Hansen. Did you see how many eagles she got throughout
Was that
the
11,
weekend?
20? I don't remember.
It was nasty. I mean, her distance is unreal, and I'm excited to see where that goes for FPO this season. Generally, seeing that distance come up. You know, here's the thing about Vegas is when you take the cut down, like when you cut the field, you're going to see a lot more eagles on the final day, and I think because the final day is the most watched, people are going to naturally say, "Oh, well, the course is too easy or too whatever." They don't like it. The big thing about Vegas is it's very risk reward. I mean, say what you want. Let's use hole 7 in the playoff as the example, right? People are like, oh, Garrett Gerthy aced that hole before. It can't possibly be a par 4. But guess what? It was the difference maker when it came down to the playoff. The risk reward. You saw Gannon go for it. You saw Drew lay up. So when you see that, maybe there's a little too much reward out there, but I'm not mad that there is a course like this on tour. Let them sling it. Let's have some fun.
All right. Looked easy. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. Josh, what's your reaction?
So I'm similar, but did you know this same event had 85 eagles last year? Did you know that in MPO, listen, 77% of the eagles came from just one hole, hole 7, Jamie, that you mentioned. Look, there were 12 holes in FPO with an eagle, and there were some holes with 0 birdies. Look, analysis matters. I hope they always look to tweak course design. The people responsible for it should do it. But here's my take. I love it. Scoring is fun. It's like in the NFL. Don't impose rules that restrict scoring. Let's unleash the scoring. I'll trust the experts to adjust the course again next year. But for me, have fun and Eagles exciting to watch.
Yes, that brings us to the end of this segment. 2 minutes. We hope you enjoyed it. We are going to go ahead and move over to reaction to some highlights from the Las Vegas Challenge. Let's take a look. Jamie, what do you think's going on here?
Well, we're just getting you caught up here. If you missed how it all ended, this is how it went down in FPO. Paige, starting back 3 from Katrina here on number 14. She puts together these 2 shots, huge to get in eagle position. Josh, the lead was 5 to Katrina at one point. This putt right here would bring Paige back to 1 back.
Yeah, and in fact, right, the whole tournament felt like it was Katrina's and she was running away with it. Nobody expected it to tighten up like it did. And boy, did it tighten up. And in fact, with some history, I think probably a lot of people were wondering how this was going to play out. And Katrina, when it mattered, there were some other problems, but when it mattered, like her putting was like incredible. But Paige wasn't letting up.
And unfortunately for Katrina, well, fortunately now she was able to show that off. But this event in the past and her putting woes, if you will, stood out as the storyline in previous years. She's done well here, but it was always her putting that kind of held her off. She demonstrated at this event that was not her issue. Came down here to the end, and you're just like, look at all the people joining into the live stream. By the way, that was doing excellent for this event. Jamie, do we have any numbers on that, or are we keeping that tight-lipped? What do we got?
No, I mean, we had the second biggest audience to ever watch FPO on the Disc Golf Network, and they were watching this on 18. I mean, you saw, like Josh mentioned, it's kind of like Worlds before. Paige Pierce out of bounds left, Katrina Allen playing placement golf with 1 to play. Do you even practice from over here? I mean, look at the shot. Look where she has to try to throw it in from.
Yeah.
Just what a,
I mean, I think she knew.
You
saw her taking a breath on that upshot on 18. She knew that this was the moment. And boy, I don't know. It's an interesting storyline. We all know Paige can kill that shot, but boy, like.
Did you say, Josh, earlier this was reminiscent of Worlds?
Obviously the whole situation's different, but yeah, on hole 18, she had to make a throw, an upshot, and didn't execute. The situation's different. Katrina had to execute at Worlds, like, right? But it's just, it reminded me of that. Quite honestly, how many events do we have where it's both of them? But anyway.
So moving over to MPO, we just saw Drew throw off here and Gannon. This is a playoff, everybody. Playoffs! Jamie, what do you have to say about this?
Look at these routes, Matt. This is so far up the neck of this fairway. That's the narrowest part of the entire fairway. The landing zone is back behind the spotter.
And Jamie, Gannon did not practice his second throw because he never intended to throw that far until he saw Drew kill it, because Drew went past the landing zone. So that's an interesting situation, right? Gannon never practiced from there.
And that's just hard luck there. Just a little speedy on the hill now.
Yeah, and Josh, I'm glad you shared that, because you did wonder to yourself when Drew threw that shot, you're like, is he going to try to match it? Is Gannon going to try to match it? And here they go. and you don't know how long it's going to take, and everybody doesn't want to end in a fluky way. You want the best golf to be displayed. And what did we see, Jamie? I mean,
well, you saw Drew Gibson go outside around that tree, low-key the hardest route on the hole, and he just looks so solid on the putting green. Like, you feel like he has to put it closer than Gannon to continue to put pressure. Gannon a little left side on that putt there, but hey, he knows he's still in this thing.
I love the confidence. We talked about it earlier. I mean, he's 16, and, you know, age is not everything. And he's actually proving that point. Age doesn't matter, because, like, he is focused as much as the elite players here, right? And it's really awesome to watch, because I don't think many of us watching and us talking here can comprehend that type of pressure to put that putt in at that moment. And yeah, 1 hole, 2 hole. I know we're not even there yet, but 3 holes, right? Just canning these. And by the way, like, of all the talk of Gannon, it's because he's young and he's new to the scene. Drew Gibson, you mentioned this earlier, Jamie, but, like, we really should be talking more about his performance, because he stepped up and canned all those putts in the playoffs as well. And then talk about how, you know, strategy began to unfold. It's pretty interesting to see how it played out.
Before Gannon Buhr, out here in Northern California, Drew Gibson was that kid. He was the kid crushing rocks 450 feet. And we're just like, man, if this kid could learn to putt, he could be something special. And
Like
you just see him taking advantage off the tee there. Matt Gannon's way back here, but look at this hero shot he pulls off. To his credit, with the pressure, Drew is giving him everything right now.
You said hero shot, and I can remember watching this live. You were there in person, and I watched it live, and I said, he's a little bit out of position. What's he going to do? Well, he's going to step up with the composure of a 16-year-old. That's a joke. Like, he's stepping up with the composure of, I don't know who, Paul Macbeth. I mean, he did perform where it was just literally, it took a lot for me to believe that I was seeing what I was actually seeing. And coming into this next hole, I believe it's the next hole here, right? Where it all comes down and
hole
ends.
7 right here.
Yeah. Where
everybody's already going over there. They're like, Drew's got that putt. We're good.
They know.
This hole sets up such as a do or die, I feel like. Did Gannon
Matt,
have any other choice?
Okay, really quick. This hole is the one that was eagled the most. I think it had 24 or 28 eagles in MPO. Gannon eagled it round 2. Oh, no, excuse me. Parred it round 2. Eagled it round 4, just 11 holes prior, and here they are. So he knows he can do it, but he throws into the bunker. And what does Drew do?
Drew doesn't get enough respect for how smart of a golfer he is. I'm just going to put that out there right now, because this guy, guarantee you he goes for it if he goes first. I watched him switch discs on the live, and honestly, this is not a bad shot by Gannon. Like, getting a birdie still puts pressure. Like, what are you going to do? Force him to eagle it if you throw second? I don't think so. That's just tough for the kid. But Drew played it perfectly. Perfect golf.
Did any part of you want to see Drew go for a hit on his second shot? Or his first shot even, really?
Honestly,
not his second shot. Not his second shot. His first shot.
I can't fault him at all for how he played it. I would
like
probably done the same thing if I had
purely
skill.
selfishly, like, it'd be fun to see it because it's exciting, but no way. In fact, I don't think I really would want it. I want to see smart golf play out and win, because it's actually an interesting storyline. Drew Gibson playing smart golf, right? Not crushing it out there, and putting himself in that position to get to that point. I think in round 1, I don't know where he was positioned in the rankings, but I think he only threw a 5 under and he finished with a 39 under.
Whew.
So he played his way into that. And I don't think I think he was confident all the way in that final round. Push, knew he could catch Gannon. And he did. And then the confidence just carried over into the playoffs. So congrats to Drew Gibson. Congrats to Katrina Allen. Thanks for giving us a show. I mean, it just gets us hyped for more disc golf. And we're literally one event in.
Yeah, and we probably owe Katrina Allen a good bit of more chatter about how she played, because she really did play against an incredibly stacked field. I mean, she wasn't even on the feature card for the first round, highest rated card ever to play an FPO, and still winds up coming through with the victory.
Yeah.
But I mean, Drew, like, the mental game, you can just tell when Drew believes he can do it, when he truly believes when he steps onto the course that weekend, he's a different animal.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. So
he's been noted as saying, Matt, I know he's been noted as saying that, right? He understands it's kind of the mental game, speaking confidence to yourself. You know, we're not going to see him coming up at the next event here, but I think he's going to have a strong season.
All right. So speaking of the next event, the Waco Charity Open. I think the name Waco actually spells WACO, Waco Annual Charity Open. There you go, Waco. It's coming up. It's this week. LVC is now behind us. It is a memory, maybe a foundation for what we expect going forward. Anybody have any highlights that you're looking forward to, storylines that you're keeping an eye on when it comes to Waco?
I mean, yeah, so we're not going to give a full breakdown, I don't think. But for me, it's the first time you're seeing a balance of courses. So we have LVC, which is unique, and it provided a lot of excitement. But now we kind of pivot back to a balanced, wooded and mixture open course. So we start to see, it's almost like if you could average these two events, you may get a little bit more of a projection. So I'm looking to see how the field handles that. And it's not quite fair to call it a rebound because honestly, Paige Pierce finished second, but I want to see how the field rebounds relative to Katrina Allen. So again, the FPO European players, what does Paige do? Even players down the board like Kona Panis and others to see like what happens. And then how can we not say we're excited to see Paul Macbeth join the MPO field, especially after what he did at the A tier at the Memorial this past weekend. And so I'm really looking forward to it because it starts to give us a more complete picture to how the season might play out.
Jamie, do you have a favorite memory? Maybe I'm putting you on the spot from last year. I have one specifically. When we come into hole 17 last year, what happened going into the final round? Do you remember?
Oh my goodness. I will never forget. First of all, Nico's throw in, if you don't know what Matt's referencing, but that massive throw in, you just go to any of the Pro Tour social channels. We've replayed as we should quite a bit, but the fact that he was battling with Kale LaVisca was awesome. And those are two guys that, maybe you don't always see in that scenario these days. There was a time in disc golf not too long ago where they absolutely would have been the people right there. But that's the thing about Waco. It's this cool little weird tournament. And I use weird in the most lovingly way possible because Jeremy Colling has won this event twice in a playoff. Nico's won it. Colton Montgomery won it the day the world shut down in 2020. Kona Panis won it by double digits last year.
It's a special event. It's a special event. So coming into this year, you set it up perfectly. I'm looking to see, are we going to have any of these contenders who in the past have demonstrated they can play Waco really well? Are we going to see them near the top? Are we going to have, similar to what happened at LVC with Gannon and Drew, two unexpecteds battling it out? Paul Macbeth will be at this event. I think there's a lot on the line here for everybody. This is going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. So unless you have any closing thoughts on Waco, we're going to take it to the closeout. Anybody?
Take it away.
All right, that's it. So we've made it to the end of our first ever league night. We hope that you enjoyed it. The broadcast for the Waco Annual Charity Open, Waco, the Disc Golf Pro Tour stop number 2, is on March 11th through the 13th. That's Friday to Sunday. FPO starts in the morning. MPO starts in the afternoon. You can find it live on the Disc Golf Network. And in fact, you can get the last round live and free on YouTube Disc Golf Pro Tour. Guys, we did it. We've put a lot of work into this. Everybody, if you enjoyed it, would you comment and let us know? If you didn't enjoy it, would you comment and let us know you did enjoy it? We'll believe you that way more than the other. No, I'm kidding. We went all feedback. We appreciate it. Disc golf is here to stay. This is after 2 years of a pandemic. I'm not saying it's over, but I'm saying that we've got this bubble growth of disc golf, and we're seeing some awesome things happen, including, look at this show. I mean, look at what's happening in disc golf. There's more media than can be consumed. Would you introduce someone to disc golf? Bring them out there, show them the same frustrations you have, show them the same love you have for the sport, make a new friend, find a new league. This is League Night, everybody. Until next time, we'll see you out there. Peace out, everybody.